At Village 7, we have some very adequate facilities.
But there are some less people-friendly aspects to the church.
The biggest problem or challenge for the facility is that it was built in an evolutionary fashion.
Young families coming are going to be looking at an older facility.
The facilities themselves are showing their age.
If we're going to impact this community, we have to make sure our facility facilitates our ministry adequately. You can tell a guest when they walk into Village 7. They walk in, they don't know where to go. It can be confusing.
But I need to find where my daughter goes.
Right now we have approximately 8 entrances into the facility, so that if we want to capture visitors and to be able to extend a welcoming hand to them, they need to know where to go.
I just randomly found somebody in the hallway. They just pointed and said, that building.
It is a maze to get from the sanctuary to the junior high classroom.
There's no signage that says, take your kids this way.
My sister is also here, but she is also lost in this maze of buildings.
They're a little overwhelmed by, trying to get from this building to another community, and it's often easier just to get into their car and go home.
When someone drives up to the church, there's no real main area where you enter.
We don't have an obvious entrance. When you pull into what appears to be the main front parking lot, the issue is, okay, which building do I go to now?
You want to be able to see the entrance from your car. One of the ways to invite a person into a facility is by having some covered area, sort of a buffer from the parking lot to the facility. I think flow is a problem.
We have a very narrow narthex.
I feel like we're an ant farm.
So when the first service is leaving and the second service is waiting, come in.
We just really can't stop and visit without impeding traffic.
And no one's going to stand around outside in the snow
We do get bad weather.
to greet and to welcome one another.
What would be really nice is if we could have a hallway that is a wide visual corridor that connects straight through Leonard Hall.
So that we can have a clear path to the classrooms without people walking outside. Our bathrooms also are not accessible.
You have to walk quite a ways. They're just not enough, and they're not placed quite in the right places.
We have relatively small bathrooms.
For someone who is handicapped, they'd have a hard time even using those restrooms.
And one of the ways we can love our neighbors is simply by making our facility much more accessible to those who have needs.
Right now, we have what we call an overflow parking area.
We have dirt parking lot, we have potholes in our parking lot.
We have a lot more cars than we have spaces for right now.
We need to have it so that people have adequate parking on paved parking, not having to walk through the mud in times of snow and rain.
To ensure that we have the ability to provide good parking for families and people who are coming in as visitors. When you come to Village 7, if you have a disability, you're in a wheelchair, even mothers with strollers, it's very difficult to get from place to place.
If you have a nursery downstairs, or if you have things that people want to come to on different levels, you have to have access for them.
Getting to the balcony is impossible. Handicapped people cannot get to the balcony.
And so part of that involves having an elevator.
If you don't have those access points, you've effectively eliminated them from even being able to choose you as a church.
There's really no place that I'm aware of that people feel real comfortable in gathering.
People need a place where they can relate to each other.
Something more like a Panera Bread restaurant or Starbucks that has a warm atmosphere.
Churches now are beginning to have welcome areas where people can sit and visit before church and after church. And what we're finding here at Village 7 is there isn't really that space.
And that's kind of the missing link here at Village 7.
Lives have been changed through the buildings of Village 7 that would not otherwise have been changed. If this facility were not here, there are people who would not know Jesus. There are kids who would not have been discipled.
People in the past invested heavily in what we have today.
Those folks prayed and they sacrificed financially. In the church in that period of great growth in the early 1980s, we're faced with a similar challenge. That cost money then, it costs money now, and it meant sacrifice.
But it's our turn to think about the future.
And I think that if Village 7 is to be a viable, living family of God in the future, that we need to invest, and we need to invest now.